What's going on, everybody? Welcome back. It's your boy, NJ Red. Welcome back to NJ Red Reactions. We got something good cooked up for you today. Um, I bumped into this Senator Hirono, because I don't want to get her name wrong. Senator Cruz. It was a little chop up right here. Uh, Came up on my feed. Um, Shout out to the right winged elephant who put that out there. When I bumped into it, I like looking at the chopped up pieces, but I had to go to the original. So we're gonna let this play. We're gonna let this play, and you guys tell me what you think about it, and then we'll go and take it to the original because there's a lot of stuff that this touches on. Gerrymander, um, what gerrymandering, we put all those aha cards up so that we can be aware of what's going on, what's packing, what's cracking. No, it's not gang banging talk. It's a lot of the different terms used, especially like what is redistricting and things like that. um I went and found out. So these aren't a lot of the things they teach you certain things in school, politics and civics, but they don't go in depth. They just leave you hanging, and they leave you hanging so long, and you just get caught up. And when you find out that you've been on the wrong side, it's like, what? So we're gonna let this play. You guys decide. Um, Shout out to the right winged elephant, because I got my whole screen set up because there's a couple. The right winged elephant. Um, then
With AI,
uh
You can create
we got
any character
Nard
that you want to in
going on
seconds.
This
to
used to
also
require huge
um
Hollywood budget.
That is how
Nerd
I feel.
News.
So why don't you
I
just
don't
stop?
I don't want to get it. I don't want to get it mixed up. Nerd News. He went in also. He had his little commentary about it. He got it from Forbes. So at the end we'll end up coming back to
within.
Forbes, because
Thank you,
Forbes
Mr.
has
Brahma. I see
everything
my
from the beginning to the end. But I want to give everybody they shout out. We're gonna take it back. So let's go and look at the view of what started it off.
So why don't you just stop lecturing the rest of us? Just because you think you are the smartest person in the world doesn't mean the rest of us agree to that. Okay? Thank you.
Senator Hirono, I knew
Senator,
Diane.
Senator Cruz.
Just a moment ago, our colleague
Senator
Senator
Hirono
Hirono said
cocky
there's a
with it,
lot
right,
more to
guys?
say, and indeed she's right. And in fact, I want to go back to her comments. She began by saying we have a long history of racial discrimination in this country. That's undoubtedly correct. And then she said, quote,
And I want to set it up because it got a little ugly, because Senator Ted Cruz, you need to be careful with him, because he'll reel you right in and line you up, and then you caught hook sink, and he's gonna break it down to her real. He's gonna break down some things that probably a lot of you guys out there didn't even know. And then watch how Senator Hirono flips it now when the truth just smacks her all in the mouth.
quote, we had poll taxes, we had literacy tests, we even had tests of how many jelly beans are in a jar. Mr. Chamberlain, when Senator Hirono
Wait, guys, the tests, like the poll taxes, the jelly bean literacy tests, like, and this all leads up to something, because a lot of times I was brought up to believe that I'm gonna keep it honest, that the Republicans were the ones that established a lot of these things, like these little tests, to make sure that the ethnic people of color, will not be able to move forward. But watch this, guys. Watch.
says we had poll taxes, I want to ask you who we is, and in particular, what party was it that implemented poll taxes in the South?
I mean, I don't want to necessarily speak in every single case, but I'm pretty confident it was mostly the Democrats.
And what party was it that put literacy tests in place in the South?
Same answer, mostly the Democrats.
And what party was it that had tests like how many jelly beans are in a bottle?
The Democrats.
Tell me, what
Now, why would they make all of those tests? Those tests were to disqualify the people of that time that weren't learned, that didn't know how to count and things of that nature, like to make it difficult. See, they make you believe that the Republicans make it difficult, but you start seeing. I'm not even. We're gonna let Senator Ted Cruz finish. Like, watch this.
party were the founders of the Ku Klux Klan from?
I'm pretty sure that was the Democrats.
Indeed. In fact, Nathan Bedford Forrest, the founder.
I had to pause it right there for a minute because just look at her face. Look at her face right here. What she's looking at now, because now she just opened up a can of whoop ass. She didn't even know it. She didn't even know what she opened up, because then that makes you think that Senator Hirono herself may not know the history of the Democrats and what they did. Hmm. A lot of people may not really know the history. A lot of times we've been accustomed to believe what they told us. And that's the problem that's going on right now, because major media, you know, they they don't know what to do right now, because the independent journalism, for everybody that has a YouTube channel out there, that has built their audience. Now you can go and listen to whoever you want. Before, you would have to wait, you know, for channel 2, channel 4, where I'm from. Hello, and J Red. Channel 2, channel 4, channel 5, channel 7, channel 9, channel 11, channel 13, public broadcasting station, and the UHF Spanish channels and things like that. But usually, if none of those major news channels told you what was going on, you didn't even know. Everybody would continue in their daily life, and you'd have to wait for them. You'd have to wait for when the news came on at a certain time. See, nowadays you don't have to wait for nothing. Nobody. You can go as soon as you hear it. Boom. You Twitter, uh, YouTube, Google, Facebook, Instagram. Like, there are so many platforms now for you to get your information from, and the telecommunications has developed so much that it's amazing. Now look at Senator Hirono's face as Senator Ted Cruz finish keeps on going and continues to break down the truth about the Democratic Party.
Of the Klan was a delegate to the 1860 Democrat National Convention. What party wrote the Jim Crow laws in the South?
The Democrats.
And so on this side of the aisle were members of the Republican Party. Who was the first Republican president?
Abraham Lincoln.
The Republican Party was literally founded to oppose slavery. We came into existence because.
So the Republican Party, a lot of people don't even know that. The Republican Party was founded to oppose slavery because, first off, Democrats are one of the longest political parties. They've been around for a very long time, and they controlled the South. They believed in slavery. They're the ones that made Jim Crow laws and all of that. Like, a lot of I find it difficult when I found that out. When I found out that that they the whole story of the Ku Klux Klan, guys, I don't got to tell you guys, because on YouTube you got to be careful what you say. I don't want to start no type of issues, but look it up. Look at the story. A lot of people that were hung back then were hung by the Democrats, and it's ugly to say that. I was born a Democrat. That's all the values that I knew, but things changed because a lot of things have been ugly lately. And we gonna let Senator Cruz finish up.
Slavery was a grotesque evil And it was President Lincoln, the first Republican president who signed the Emancipation Proclamation, who won the Civil War, and that resulted in the freeing of the slaves and the passage of the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendments. By the way, fast forward to the Civil Rights era. Bull Connor, one of the most noxiously racist politicians, what party was he from?
He was a Democrat.
The Democrats, for the entire history of their party, have been a party based on racial discrimination.
For the entire history of their party. The entire history of their party. See, we've been spoon-fed to believe a lot of the things that we believed when we were growing up. They controlled the news, they controlled the media, they control what they teach you in school. And now we have to siphon through all of the nonsense that we've been taught to believe to find the truth now. Like, I'm gonna let them finish up.
They affirmatively embrace it, they support it.
Now, I want to say thank you once again to the right winged elephant. So, like I said, Nerd News, because he let me be able to see a little bit more full in depth. I don't want to be too biased, but we're going to go directly to the full Senate Judiciary Committee hearing so that you guys can see exactly what was going on.
Case, and they never did.
Thank you, Mr. Grum. I see my time's expired. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Senator Hirono.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. There's absolutely no question that racial discrimination existed in our country, and in many places, people would argue that it still does. And so we had all kinds of ways to keep black people from voting. We had poll tax.
Now, I don't think Senator Hirono knew that she was going to set her own self up. That goes to show us sometimes that these senators do not even know the history of their party. Like, this is crazy. Like, it's just they're following the wave, and whatever part of the ocean, the water, they're just a part of it. They don't like watch Senator Hirono put herself out there.
Taxes. We had literacy tests. We had, I think they, some places even required them to count how many jelly beans were in a jar. All kinds of ways to keep black people from voting. This happened. I don't think anybody can deny that that was.
And she's stating all the facts herself. See, now, she didn't know that her party were the ones that created all of that. This how you know. Now, pie on her face at the end, guys, because we already saw the short clip. But you guys tell me, like, there's a lot of things that's going to go into this because, we talk about the SAFE Act and everything because they're trying to mix everything together and just confuse the people. But like I said, I got shorts here, the little AHA cards that let you know different things, like what is cracking, what is packing, what is gerrymandering. Like, should some of these things be allowed? Is that even legal? So, but because there's so much in this video right here, but Senator Hirono just set herself up. Guys, you look like, and look at it, because she's smug with it, thinking that she's going to come off, but watch this.
Going on. And as far as I'm concerned, there is a pattern now of voter suppression going on in our country right now. And the Calais decision just plays into that by pretty much gutting the Voting Rights Act, which, by the way, was reaffirmed many times in a bipartisan way in acknowledging that this kind of racial discrimination occurred, and that as a democratic country where everybody has an equal vote, that's not tolerable. But suddenly it's a-okay just because the Supreme Court says so. No, it's not the entire Supreme Court. It's a 63 majority, which I consider to be basically an out of control Supreme Court majority where there is a pattern of this kind of decisions out of this court.
And it looks like she's laying it down because she's talking some things, and seems like she does have a point in certain areas. But let's watch.
Court. So just because this court says so doesn't mean I agree with them. So meanwhile, there is voter suppression going on. You have an attorney general who sued at least 20.
And I'm sorry, they cocky too. Like, they supposed to work for the people. We put them in these positions, and they talk back. Like, I don't understand that we're all supposed to be working together, and they've been chosen for those specific seats to represent us so that we can get the best there is. There's nothing greater than our country. I'm born July 3rd, 19. Whew, I can't tell you guys all of that. July 3rd, firecracker week. Come on now. How is she up there trying to use points that go against what she's trying to go for? Like, let's look at her.
29 states to get these states to turn over their voter rolls. Why? What does the Department of Justice, what does the executive branch want to do with all this voter information? Up to no good, I would say. There's this huge push to pass the SAVE Act. It's more Save
And
Trump
that's
Act.
something also. We're going to make AHA cards for that so that we can start getting all of these informations and little tips to what the Department of Justice is supposed to be doing. What are the senators supposed to be doing? What are all of these people sitting in these seats supposed to be doing? What are the positions within your municipality, your city councilors, your mayor? What are they supposed to be doing? The person that manages the city, what are they supposed to be doing? What is the Board of Education supposed to be doing? The superintendent, you know, the assistant mayor, the people that, come on, guys, come on. Let's continue with Senator Hirono.
What does that act do? It would require millions and millions, all of us who are registered to vote, suddenly we will have to show proof of citizenship, either through a birth certificate or a passport. Millions of people don't have either.
And why not? Why don't they have either? When I was born, I was given a birth certificate. Matter of fact, um, to go to certain movie theaters, you need an ID to be able to go in there to make sure that you're of age. Uh, at certain places, which by law they make you give an ID to get cigarettes, right, guys? I mean, I don't know. You tell me what happens in your town, in your state, in your city. Let me know how do they do over there when you guys go into the liquor store. For those that drink, do you guys get ID'd or not? Um, because I think you're supposed to be 21 and older to be able to purchase alcohol. So when you drive, do you get an ID when you drive? Shouldn't you be able to show that driver's license or some form of identification to the officer when they pull you over to show them that you have passed the test to drive? When you get married, I mean, don't you need an ID to show, even with the marriage license? Because that's another thing for the women. I don't want to get into that, but for the men, when you get married and you go to vital statistics to show them, you have to show an ID to prove to them who you are. So then they do a background check to see if you've been married uh, before, because it's not legal to get married again if you're married to somebody else, right? So uh, why why wouldn't you have an ID? Um, a lot of people outside have an idea if something happens, in case of emergency, if you pass out or something, they can identify you. Like, I don't I, I don't know. So why do they use these talking points to manipulate the people? W- w- Every place has a motor vehicles, and every city has a place. I'm sure that you can get identification. How do you cash your checks? How do you open up bank accounts? Things like that. So sometimes that makes you wonder, because when I see them, I'm like, wow, like they play people for dummies.
Married people who take their partner's name will not have a name that matches their birth certificate. So what are they going to do? There are going to be millions of people who are not even going to register to vote. And you think Trump doesn't know that? Of course he does. That's why he wants the SAVE Act to be enacted. That's why the Republicans would like to see the SAVE Act enacted, because they know that millions of people will be literally
No, we want the SAVE Act to be enacted because I believe that a lot, when they say millions of people, because the votes were counted in and the president won. So we want our country to be safe from everything that's going on in a lot of the other countries. There have been a lot of people that have been hurt by undocumented workers. It's difficult, it's ugly, but we that has nothing to do with, if you can get liquor and you need an ID, shouldn't you need an ID to vote to see who will be able to run one of the greatest, if not, it is the greatest country in the world? What are these people talking about?
disenfranchised by not even being able to allow to vote. And then with this regime, once you do vote, they will challenge your vote, as they did in the last elections. So voter suppression is going on. It's very reminiscent to the kind of stuff that was going on that the Voting Rights Act was intended to address, to fix. And now you have a
And this is where it gets ugly, because she giggled smugly right there to like kind of throw it, I guess, at the Republicans' faces. But a lot of the standards and a lot of the things that led to the civil rights was because of the Democrats. See, that's how you know that she doesn't know the history of her own party. And that's the reason why we need to stop allowing people that does not have the best interest. You don't even know what your party did. You don't even know. And you up there defending like they were the ones that wanted to be able to help and assist, when they were the ones that were coming out with the hoses and putting the dogs on the people. Mm, come on. That's the nonsense. Like, that's why I'm glad for the internet, because now you can go out and find the truth. You just don't have to listen to them.
Supreme Court that says, oh, never mind all of that, never mind all of that history. And over
I'm sorry, guys. Never mind all of that history. You guys started all of that history with all of the things that they were doing. That's why the Republicans came to be, because of all of the atrocities that were being committed to the slaves and all of the wrongs that were being done to the black people. Come on. Like, this is terrible. She doesn't even know what she's talking about. And that's why we need to be able to hold our senators and our congressmen and hold them accountable. You guys need to start looking up statutes, laws, rules, regulations, policy, so that we can know where we need to stand at to be able to have a better turnout. Because look at what's happening. She doesn't even know the history. Come on.
3 cases, they succeeded in gutting the Voting Rights Act. And don't tell me that the provisions of the Voting Rights Act still exist in a way that is pretty much unenforceable, because racial gerrymandering is going to be okay unless the legislative body that does the gerrymandering says, oh, by the way, we intend to racially discriminate. Are you crazy? You think that state legislators are going to be that overt about it? Of course not. So you have a Voting Rights Act that you claim is still intact. Please, Please, give me a break. I have a question for Mr. Cox. Last weekend, thousands of people, and apparently you.
And guys, you can also go out there to check out for the gerrymandering aha card to tell you explicitly what is gerrymandering. Like, it's a lot of things we didn't know before, but now with the internet, you can just go and look for it. I put a couple of shorts in there that can give you guys some of the tips and advice that we need.
Who were among them gathered to protest the Supreme Court's gutting of the Voting Rights Act. The central locations for these protests were Montgomery and Selma, Alabama, and both significant sites in American civil rights history. Mr. Cox, can you put this current moment into historical context for us? For instance, why is this moment reminiscent of when the last Congressman, John Lewis, who many of us consider a friend and hero, led over 600 peaceful protesters across the Edmund Pettus Bridge in Selma, Alabama?
Let me show you how to go from a sketch of an idea to a real working app in Airtable within minutes. I had this idea to create a dashboard in the style of like a streaming service homepage where each card would be one of our products.
Thank you, Senator Hirono, for that question. I think it's
Yeah, guys, we do commercials too.
reminiscent and reflects the fact that the Voting Rights Act was not given to us, it was not bestowed on us, it really came from the people. And the joke I'm sort of making is that Justice O'Connor used to say there were more lawyers in D.C. than people. I think we sometimes feel that way in D.C. We're on the Hill. Lawyers are at the center of the universe, and that's just not true. If we're going to climb out of this destruction of the Voting Rights Act, the penultimate destruction of our democracy, is going to require the people. And quite frankly, we're being gaslit. We have a Supreme Court, we have allies of the Supreme Court and allies of the Calais case saying discrimination is over. Obviously not true. We have folks on the ground showing and discussing with us that law enforcement are at the polling places. We have folks not only confused, but being discriminated against right now. And I have to say that to ignore the fact that the people are demanding that Congress respond, that Congress restore the effects test that has been gutted and taken out by Calais would be a mistake. Because folks understand and know what is happening outside in the real world. And they know, particularly black voters know, that they aren't going to return to the 1800s and what we all experienced, or our ancestors experienced, that led us to the Voting Rights Act in the first place.
There is so much more to say, but I fear my time is up.
Thank you.
And I wanted to pause that real quick. Like, we all gonna return to the 1800s. Did you know you couldn't even read back then? You couldn't be able to do none of that stuff that we can do now. Like, come on. Like, I hate when they use people like that to try to bamboozle us and make us look dumb and stupid. Like, we going back to the 1800s. You know that if you knew how to read back then, they'll kill you. Come on now. And then I don't know how our people go out there and let them just use them on us. Like, come on.
Thank you.
I would point out that my colleague from Hawaii questions whether or not people would be overtly discriminatory in the words that they would say. I will just point out to the California map maker who said the number one thing he was focused on was creating a racially gerrymandered district. So people do say it. Senator Cruz.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just a moment ago, our colleague, Senator Hirono, said there's a lot more to say, and indeed, she's right. And in fact, I want to go back to her comments. She began by saying we have a long history of racial discrimination in this country. That's undoubtedly correct. And then she said, quote, we had poll taxes, we had literacy tests, we even had tests of how many jelly beans are in a jar. Mr. Chamberlain, when Senator Hirono says we had poll taxes, I want to ask you who we is, and in particular, what party was it that implemented poll taxes in the South?
I mean, I don't want to necessarily speak in every single case, but I'm pretty confident it was mostly the Democrats.
And what party was it that put literacy tests in place in the South?
Same answer, mostly the Democrats.
And what party was it that had tests like how many jelly beans are in a bottle?
The Democrats.
Tell me, what party were the founders of the Ku Klux Klan from?
I'm pretty sure that was the Democrats.
Indeed, in fact.
And you know, regardless of all, because it seems like it's a alley oop. Like when he throw it up, he slams it down. When he throws it up, he slams it down, and it makes it real ugly because now look at the people in the background. Look at the young man right here. He doesn't even want to look up because now it does not look good in the Democrats' favor. Um, a lot of people look down at that. Look at this young lady right here covering her mouth because Senator Hirono set herself up. Look at this lady over here, like laughing because now
In fact,
everybody
Nathan Bedford
sees
Forrest, the founder of the Klan, was a
what's happening. Let me just take that back a little bit. Let me just take it back a little bit. Like, come on, guys, this is too much. And then you out there trying to tell people what to do, and if you not this party, you're a come on, Oh, come on, come on.
jar. Mr. Chamberlain, when Senator Hirono says we had poll taxes, I want to ask you who we is, and in particular, what party was it that implemented poll taxes in the South?
Yeah, who is we? Tell who is we?
I mean, I don't want to necessarily speak in every single case, but I'm pretty confident it was mostly the Democrats.
And what party was it that put literacy tests in place in the South?
Same answer, mostly the Democrats.
Look at this lady back here just laughing. Like, wait, let me bring this back, guys. When when
I don't want to
Senator
necessarily speak in every
look
single
look at
case,
this
but I'm
lady
pretty
right here.
confident it was mostly the Democrats.
And what party was it
Bam,
that put
in your
literacy
face. Look at
tests
this guy.
in place in the South?
Same answer, mostly the Democrats.
And
Look
what
at
party
everybody in
was
the
it that
back.
had tests like how many jelly beans are in a bottle?
The Democrats.
Tell me,
Like who? And then you cover that from the people. The people, and it's crazy because a lot of times they still believe that somebody else set those tests up. But look who set them up. Now what?
what party were the founders of the Ku Klux Klan from?
I'm pretty sure that was the Democrats.
Indeed, in fact, Nathan Bedford Forrest, the founder of the Klan,
And
was
that
a
was
delegate
ugly.
to the 1860 Democrat National Convention.
That was ugly right there. That one should have been the mic drop. That should have been the mic drop, and that should have the Democrats not talking no more about like you trying to do good for the people, and you use all this racial magic. I'm not saying that it does not exist out there. What I'm saying is that you're manipulating it to turn it into even bigger things. Look, and you guys brought all of that. Let's look at the history. We can go on YouTube, guys. You guys could go on YouTube, look up the history, all the other things that were started back then. Like, come on.
What party wrote the Jim Crow laws in the South?
The Democrats.
Like, how about that one? Who wrote the Jim Crow laws? Like, a lot of people don't even know. You're happy. You defend all of this stuff. Like, you started the Ku Klux Klan. You wanted to keep slavery. You wrote the Jim Crow laws. Like what happened to Black Wall Street when they was dropping those bells of tar that were lit up? What happened?
And so on this side of the aisle were members of the Republican Party. Who was the first Republican president?
Abraham Lincoln.
The Republican Party was literally founded to oppose slavery. We came into existence because slavery was a grotesque evil, and it was President Lincoln, the first Republican president, who signed the Emancipation Proclamation, who won the Civil War, and that resulted in the freeing of the slaves and the passage of the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendments.
Let me pause that right there. 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendment. So, they don't teach you too much. They tell you about Abraham Lincoln and, he got shot. John Wilkes Booth, I think, was a gentleman's name. He got shot at the theater, you know. But they don't go in depth as far as even telling you as to why the Republican Party was created. It was to stop slavery. Frederick Douglass was a Republican. He was an abolitionist. a lot of times we don't know the truth until you go look for it. And this right here makes you think like, wow, all of that stuff. See, because they make you think, even in school, like, oh, the white people started that, but they don't tell you what party started that. And they make you hate a race and a kind of people instead of hating the political structure, the engine that created that. That's terrible. And a lot of people still under that hypnosis. We off that.
By the way, fast forward to the civil rights era. Bull Connor, one of the most noxiously racist politicians. What party was he from?
He was a Democrat.
The Democrats, for the entire history of their party, have been a party based on racial discrimination. They affirmatively embrace it. They support it. Let me ask you, Mr. Grime, is discriminating based?
The entire history. He ain't say a little bit of it. The entire history, when you look back and you look now, then you be still wondering, and you wonder like, wow, it really has. When you start looking through, you start understanding that we've all been manipulated. All of that money that's been stolen to fund so-called things for us is just another way of them just giving us a little bit off the top, and then they keep the rest. It's terrible, guys.
Based on race consistent with the United States Constitution?
No.
What does the 14th Amendment say about discrimination based on race?
It's prohibited.
What does the 15th Amendment say about discriminating based on race, and in particular drawing congressional lines and explicitly discriminating based on race?
It's prohibited.
Now, the Democrats are fond of telling this story that is, and I wish I could find a kinder way to say it, a flat-out lie.
I'm gonna pause it right there because you don't have to. It is a flat out lie. It's like Santa Claus. You guys tell me. It's just like Santa Claus. You believed it, and then when you found out the truth, it hurt you. It hurt you deep inside because all that time, the ones that you loved, the ones that you cared about, the ones that you trusted in, lied to you. It's the same thing, and that's what makes it so ugly. So he doesn't have to be cordial in his choice of words. I'll say it myself because I grew up within the system. And what I saw the last couple of years definitely has changed my political views. And Senator Cruz is not lying.
That without discriminating based on race, that no African Americans will be elected and no Hispanics will be elected. Indeed, there was one fellow online who was a vocal left-wing spokesperson who tweeted out, "If I'm advising anybody to run for president, they sure as hell better have a solution to how you make sure that it's not another 100 years before another black person can represent South Carolina." So
And that's
that's
terrible.
a typical Democrat statement.
Talking about that's terrible by him saying that. Because that makes you believe and understand that consensus may continue in other back office talks when they choose who they want to be in there. Look at what's going on over there in California with, or what went on with Catherine Bass and Rahman and Spencer Pratt, and like that's another story coming up soon. Like it's too much. It's too much.
That we cannot elect a black person in South Carolina without discriminating based on race. I want to ask you, Mr. Chamberlain, who is the junior senator from South Carolina right now?
That would be Tim Scott.
And, all right, I'll tell you what I said online. I said, hey, Grok, who is Tim Scott, and why do Democrats think he isn't black? And by the way, was Tim Scott elected because of a gerrymandered district drawn only to elect an African American?
No, he won.
And that's the same thing that happens to everybody else of color that decides to go Republican. You're not of your heritage anymore or of that ethnic group because you're supposed to be a Democrat. If you're not white, you're supposed to be a Democrat. Only a lot of people are not going to say that, but I will. That's like a secret truth that is carried on the inside. And a lot of people out there have still not told their family, friends, co-workers that they may be Republicans because of the backlash and how they may feel in their office, in their workplace, at home, at church, a lot of different places. Drop it down below. Let us know. Let us know how you really feel. You should be able to choose based off of your own free will what you want to represent you. And at times, the other people cannot accept that. So it makes it very difficult for you to be able to socialize normally because sooner or later it comes up and then it's plain to see. That's how you know that it's some type of hypnosis or something going on where I'm gonna just let Senator Cruz finish.
Statewide.
He won statewide. By the way, the Democrat position is you can only elect African Americans with a gerrymandered district. I will point out Burgess Owens, an African American, is elected in a majority white district in the state of Utah. He's a Republican. Byron Donald.
And that's exactly what's going on. Like they're trying to say that you can only be able to select your own kind if the district is gerrymandered. Other than that, you have no chance within your own autonomy. Your community won't choose you or the people of your vicinity. Like that's too much. If you put that work in, you shouldn't just like come on, guys. Like you can only win that because only the black people could bring you in, or only the Spanish people could bring you in. What? And that's go ahead. That's why a lot of them.
Another African American, is elected in a majority white district in Florida. He is a Republican. John James, another African American, is elected in a majority white district in Michigan. He is a Republican. And my own congressman,
That's why you got to be careful. That's why you got to be careful with Ted, because when he gets on that roll, and now he's just hitting them with facts after facts after facts. Everybody that has a problem, go look it up. Sorry, go look it up, and then whatever you want. But when he keep hitting you, it reminds me of that old Bugs Bunny cartoon with the puma would come and say, he said, "How many lumps you want?" And then he hit him in the head with the mallet. 1, 2, 3. Like, come on, like facts after facts.
Represents me in the House of Representatives. He is elected in a majority white district. He is a Republican. And yet, in the Democrats' world, you're not black if you're not a liberal Democrat. There is an error.
Ugly. And that's ugly. And that's ugly. I see it every day. And then, you get attacked because it's like they want you to die in that wallow of that nonsense. Get that out of here. Like, nobody wants to hear that anymore.
Arrogance to African American voters. By the way, they also have that same arrogance to Hispanic voters. They say you're not Hispanic if you're not a liberal Democrat. Well, I'll tell you, I am proud to be.
And definitely they do. I'm mixed. I know. It happens on both sides. And that's how they treat you. They can see everything just crumbling around them and they still would not change their mind due to the strong hypnosis programming. And that's just what it is. Because after I start seeing it, I was like, whoa, like they got us like robots. And a lot of the people still believe whatever out there. It's terrible.
The first Hispanic ever elected to represent the state of Texas in the United States Senate. And Mr. Chamberlain, in my election in Texas, was I elected in a gerrymandered district that could only elect an Hispanic?
No, you were elected statewide.
Discrimination based on race is wrong. Final question.
It definitely is. Because where does that leave us at? Now that leaves us back at the 1800s. Nobody talks about that. You know, they use it as a card or as a tool. We see what's going on with the Carmelo Anthony situation, with the young Cyrus situation. There's a lot of things going on out in the world. Some of these people live in these gated communities and don't come out from where they're, you know, out of their security range. And it makes it difficult. But, you know, we need certain guardrails implemented to make sure that we stay safe. Senator Hirono did not know what she was getting her ass into.
Democrats are now clutching their pearls that seats drawn to elect liberal Democrats in the South are going to go away. You may get black Republicans instead. Indeed, in Tennessee, they're freaking out that a liberal white guy who's a Democrat is likely going to lose his seat to an African-American woman who's a Republican, and they say that's horrible racial oppression.
And that's crazy, y'all. I had to pause that right there real fast. And that's crazy because I thought we were trying to progress. So now, if you're of color and you're not running for the blue team, there's a problem with you. Like you're because there's a lot of things that they call you out there. I don't know what was the name that they called you. If you remember what they used to call you, put it in the comments. Let us know what they called you. Because a lot of times they call you something. I know they call me something. They call me Judas. But I just got tired. Just like, you know, Senator said that basically you're telling me that without the without the the push of our specific community, you can't be nothing. Like, what? You crazy. This is America. What?
My final question is this. If you look nationwide, which party has egregiously abused gerrymandering for decades? Both parties are guilty of it, but who has been the worst offender?
And he's being honest because both parties have been guilty of it, but egregiously, look at what's going on now. Jasmine Crockett, I was about to call her Jasmine Sullivan. I think she's a singer. Look at what happened with her, and in a couple of other districts, and how they're fighting that back because they want to stay in power, and they're losing it. And they're losing it because the people are starting to see through the lies and realize that they've been lying to them all the time. And their time is running out. Because I don't understand when they say like Americans. What Americans are they talking about? Are they talking about the people on the hill that have been running it so long when Sleepy Joe was there and everybody else was there just doing whatever they wanted? Like you can't even do a side gig without reporting it. So like, go ahead, please.
In particular, take New England. Take Massachusetts, take Connecticut, take Rhode Island, take Maine, take Vermont, take New Hampshire. How many Republicans are elected from all of New England in the House of Representatives?
Take them, and how many Republicans are elected? Let's ask that question. How many?
Representatives.
I think the answer to that is zero.
Zero. They've drawn every...
Zero. Come on, guys. Zero. Just like my, come on.
Redistricted a naked gerrymander, and yet they're very upset that their illegal pursuit of power has now been stopped by the Supreme Court that is enforcing the Constitution and prohibiting
all that old bullshit they used to do. Stopping all of that. And now there are a lot of people mad. They're upset. They're angry over that. Yeah. That and the misuse of money and funds and stealing, like what? And it's all coming down. There are going to be a lot more people upset, a lot more people going to jail, a lot more changes. Why don't they ever admit these faults?
the racial gerrymandering and discrimination their party is built on.
Mr.
Senator
Chairman?
Padilla.
Just a
Mr.
point
Chairman,
of
part of
clarification.
personal privilege.
Sure.
Now it's part of personal privilege. Now, and these are the terminologies and things like that, because now we're going to get off script, guys, because now somehow her feelings were hurt because he told the truth. What's going on? You went up there and took the truth and turned it into some mush and into some lie or something, and now you're embarrassed on national TV in front of all of these people, which now this will turn into a clip, which it did turn into a clip. And then I had to find the commentary from somebody else and now bring you guys the whole full hearing of that process. And now all of a sudden, hold on, personal. Hold on. Let's hear what she has to say.
I feel personally aggrieved to sit here and to be lectured by my colleague from Texas. And this reminds
But lectured, ma'am, I know why you feel aggrieved. Like I spoke about earlier, you feel aggrieved because you did not know your party's history. Mm, you did not know what they did before the so-called turn came along, and now you're embarrassed that he used your own party's ammunition against you, and now in front of everybody, because I'm pretty sure when she goes back they're going to look at her like, didn't you know that about us? We did that. And now she doesn't know what to say. Now you're mad. Let me bring that back. You're mad because of that? Come on, stop playing.
Party is built on.
Mr.
Senator
Chairman,
Padilla.
Just a
Mr.
point
Chairman,
of
part of
clarification.
personal privilege.
Sure.
I feel personally aggrieved to sit here and to be lectured by my colleague from Texas. And this reminds me of the time when he was first elected to the Senate, and the Judiciary Committee had a hearing on gun safety, and he is
No, ma'am, what does that have to do with anything going on right now? You're mad that he displayed the facts. So now I thought the facts were the things that helped us to separate opinions and beliefs so that we can be able to move forward and have a better structure in the things that we're going to do. Now, he gave you about 7 minutes of facts, just hitting you with all types of uppercuts and handed your buns back to you. And now you want to bring back something from before, and that, come on now. We're going to look that one up too, guys, and see how he did that for the lady.
felt a need to lecture Dianne Feinstein, who was a leader on gun safety legislation, and he took that opportunity to lecture Dianne Feinstein.
Miss Dianne Feinstein. If we got facts and you wrong, you wrong. And that's the problem. That goes back to, look at this pause right here. Crazy. That goes back to Senator Hirono, that now you're embarrassed because your facts were not straight. So even if I wasn't on Senator Ted's side after he dropped those facts, I'd be quiet and go in my Google and go do a couple of YouTube videos to see if he was really telling the truth, to come back to the next hearing and fix that up. But instead, now it's personal, and that's the problem. Now you emotionally got hurt because you got embarrassed because you was talking caca. That's what they call it. Caca.
about gun safety and her leadership on the issue. And she said to him something along the lines of, I did not sit here on this committee for however many years she did, only to be lectured by you. And that is how I feel. So why don't you just
But if you were wrong, you should just accept certain points where you were wrong. It's not even a point about being lectured, because I didn't see it as a lecture. I thought he was talking to the people, to explaining to us, because some people did not know a lot of the stuff, and some people still do not know that. So hopefully now with this reaction, some people can be able to hear some of those things. And she didn't like that. I mean, I didn't like it in the beginning either, when I was changing. But I had to realize the facts, and that's just what it is.
stop lecturing the rest of us? Just because you think you are the smartest person in the world doesn't mean the rest of us agree to that, okay? Thank you.
Senator Hirono.
Senator,
Ma'am, and he never said that. And that was the whole thing, Senator. He never said that. He never said that, and that's the ugly part, when you hand them their buns. When you hand it back to them like that. She was caught off guard. She was talking all of that, was caught off guard out there, and didn't know that that was going to happen to her. And guys, you know, give me a thumbs up if you like that. Please subscribe. I want to give Forbes breaking news their shout out also for the full clip, so that I can be able to bring it to you fully, so that you guys can see the levels. And the senator should have known her history, should have really studied her points, knowing that when she came up there to sit against that man, it was going to be a problem. But, well, guys, New Jersey Red Reactions. Thank you for listening to us today. Subscribe, like, hit that notification bell to make sure you always stay informed. Have a beautiful day. Thank you once again for listening and hanging out with us, guys. We really appreciate you. And if leave some comments. Let us know how you feel. Let us know what was the first thing that they called you, or anything else that may have touched you in there when we did this. You have a beautiful day today. Thank you for listening to New Jersey Red Reactions.